Today I want to share with you an easy gardening solution that I've shared with many people over the years. Some of those people just had incredibly poor soil and amending it was going to be a problem. Some of those people were seniors who wanted to be a little less active, a little less bending and stooping. And some of them were just new gardeners who wanted something light and easy to try to decide if they really wanted to do more gardening. And one of those people was me, because I have a tricky situation and I need an easy gardening solution. Let me show you that situation. This is my garden situation. It is a little self-contained area right outside my kitchen window. And my ideal is to have some bright color. It's right next to the sidewalk that I walk down every day, and I really want something spectacular here. But there are some problems with this location. This is the south side of the house, so it's perfectly sheltered. There's a little bit of a wall here so that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and it's shaded from that hot west sun. So I should be able to grow a lot of blooming plants. But one of the problems is that in the spring, the sun is here. But in the fall, the sun is here. And right there is a huge cluster of live oak trees. And so in the spring, I have great sun. And in the fall, I have a whole lot of shade. And there aren't many plants that can take both of those situations. And the other tricky piece of this is live oak trees drop their leaves in January, and they're little bitty leaves, and they grow everywhere. And if I have tender plants in the soil in this area and I'm trying to rake out the leaves around those plants, it's not an ideal situation, but more than that, I just don't want to do it. So my solution for this tricky situation is to garden in container gardens. I played with it this spring with a few containers, and I planted some seeds, and they came up great and they bloomed really pretty, and a lot of them are spent now because it's the end of September and we're coming on fall, and the sun has kind of moved, it's shifted. And so it's time to clean out those spring annuals and bring in some fall color. And while I do that, I want to build out this area with more containers, because I can have tall containers in the back and I can have shorter containers in the front and around the sides and have a really interesting fall display all grown in container gardens. And so why are containers easier? Well, number one, I don't have to spade up this soil and add compost before I plant. Number two, I don't even need a shovel. I don't have to dig a hole in the ground because potting soil is very easy to deal with. It's easy to water it. It's easy to fertilize it. It's easy to plant in it and dig in it. And it's easy to trade out plants. When one is spent and I'm bringing in another one, it's really easy to just pull one out, put another one in, and it works great. And with the pots in the center, I'm not going to see those pots. So they can be plastic pots. They can be pots that are free, and having the pots on the outside be more beautiful pots to look at. So there are great advantages to growing in container gardens. And so my goal today is to give this little garden a fall facelift, to bring in some bright fall colors, to plant them in my container gardens so that next time I walk down this sidewalk, I'm going to see something really spectacular. So let's get it done. Here I am at the beginning of the container gardens, and these pots have been here since early spring. And my first job is to decide what plants I'm going to keep and to get rid of the annuals that are spent and to prune a few things. So I have a pot here that has pentas and and periwinkles and some Brazilian verbena. And since pink is not a fall color, I'm going to take these out and move them to a different location, and I'm going to reuse the pot, but I'm going to plant them in a different part of the garden. The asparagus fern is a perennial, and so it can stay. It's going to be happy. There are 2 of them here. Peeking up on the other side of the big red pot is some autumn sedum, autumn joy sedum, and it's happy right there, and I'm going to let it continue to grow right there. In the big red pot was a giant annual autumn sage with a giant spider in the middle of it, I just noticed. But it filled up this whole pot, and it's relatively spent. The leaves are looking kind of sad, and when the cool weather gets here, it's going to stop blooming. So I pruned it way back. I kept one of the stems that had the most blooms on it, but eventually I'll just cut that off. And I'm going to plant this pot with some flowers. Behind me, there's a Gerber daisy that's through blooming. It's not going to bloom again in the fall, and so I'm going to move it. There's quite a bit of coleus, sun coleus, in the garden. And the trick with coleus, if you let it bloom, it will grow long and leggy and go to seed and not be very attractive. But if you continue to prune it throughout the growing season, it'll stay small and compact. So while I'm going through here, I'm going to prune all of my coleuses back so that they can flush out again with new growth. And then in the back pot is some more salvia and sage that's going to be moved as well. So I'm going to sit here on my handy stool with my spade and my nippers, and I'm going to replot and take out some things that need to be taken out and prune some things that need to be pruned. And so in a snap, I'll be done. My back pot is cleaned out now. There is a little bit of coleus growing on this side, and there is a 4 o'clock coming out on the other side. And 4 o'clocks are perennial and they're hardy, and I'm just going to let it continue to grow right where it is. And for this pot that I've set up tall, I'm going to put the millet. Now, millet has been on my wish list for a long time. It is a grain. It's a gluten-free grain, and it is great for fodder. It's great as a cover crop. It's great for, in my yard, for feeding the birds, because these bright red purple pods are going to be filled with seeds in the next couple of months, and the birds are going to come in and just go bananas, and that's my plan for the millet. But I'm also going to collect some seeds to plant it in other areas of my landscape. So this is going to be the showpiece of my container garden, and it's going to be right next to my cranberry hibiscus, which when I bought it, I had no idea it grew this tall, but it's very happy and it's very tall, and it matches the purple millet very nicely. So these are going to be sort of the focal point for the container garden area. And so I will be ready to plant it and snap. Now my thriller plants are planted in the background, and I'm ready to work on this red pot. I put this giant red pot in the middle because it's going to catch your eye, and after you look at the big tall plants in the back, you're going to come right down to this red pot, and I want to fill it up with some great fall color. So I have, first of all, I have a croton, and these are perennial plants, but they are very tender. They can't go colder than about 60 degrees. So as fall comes on and it starts getting colder, I'm going to be wanting to take this one in and bring it back out. But the color on it is just amazing. And behind that, I'm going to put some rudbeckia, which is a cultivated black-eyed Susan. And these are going to grow up taller, and they're going to have bright yellow, gorgeous blooms all through the fall. And then I have some sweet Carolina sweet potato plant. And these are going to drape out the sides and fill in the areas around the big red pot. And I have in mind that there'll be one coming out the back, and I'll have this sweet potato vine growing on the wagon wheel. And so this can be done in a snap. Now my showpiece is planted, and there's one extra plant that I added. This spiky purple plant is a cordyline, and it needed something right in the center, and I think that perfectly fit. And now I'm ready for chrysanthemums. I'm going to plant chrysanthemums in the big square pot, one on each side. And I wanted to talk about the blooms for just a minute. With chrysanthemums, they are absolutely covered in blooms, and they are expending a whole lot of energy to support those blooms. And one thing that's very helpful in terms of keeping your plant healthy is to snip off those blooms that are starting to be spent. Once the bloom starts to be spent, the plant is still expending a lot of energy to support that bloom. And if you go ahead and snip it off, then it can use that energy to open up new blooms and to make the rest of the blooms look really healthy. And this is called deadheading. And it's a great way to keep your plants blooming for a longer period of time. And so deadheading the chrysanthemums and deadheading the rudbeckia is going to be important. This one has a nice bloom up on top, but the stem got broken in the planting process, and I don't want it wasting energy trying to keep it alive when I know it's going to die. So I'm going to plant my 2 chrysanthemums, and I'll be back in a snap. The chrysanthemums are planted, and there's an interesting little detail. The zinnia that was growing in this pot is still looking pretty good, and the color is fine, and so I have it draping out of the pot in front. And it's little details like this that really set your container garden apart. And you'll notice behind the chrysanthemum, there's a deep red coleus coming up. And that one will flush out because I've just pruned it, and it will make this pot be spectacular. And the same situation is going on the matching pot on the other side. It's a little bit different chrysanthemum, but it has the same kind of details. So there's balance in the garden on each side. And so the next pot is for celosia. Some people call it a coxcomb because it looks like that rooster comb. And there are lots of different varieties, lots of different colors and shapes. I picked the oranges and yellows because it's going to perfectly match my container garden. And so it's going to sit in this pot, and coming out the front are some beautiful yellow, gold, and orange zinnias. And I'll plant this pot, and there's another pot on the other side that I'm going to plant, and I can do it in a snap. The beauty of planting in container gardens in this way gives you flexibility to make last-minute changes, which is exactly what I did with my coxcomb. I decided that the zinnia was a little bit too much of the same color in the same pot, so I went over and picked up my creeping Jenny. It's a moneywort plant, and it is a great ground cover. It can actually grow into the soil and grow out around my container garden and come back year after year if it wants to. And so I've got this beautiful green draping out the side of the pot. And if you notice, this is actually a broken pot. It had an accident, but I still use it, particularly when I have things spilling out the side like this. So this plant is in its pot and situated, and there's another one on the other side to match it. And now I'm on to my next pots. And so I have a different kind of chrysanthemum that's going to go in this pot, and I've got a gold one that's going to go on the other side to match it. And then in the very front, I've got a yellow gold portulaca, and it's going to sit in the front, and it's going to spill out all around the pot. And then I'm going to put these zinnias in the background to stand up taller around the little bird bath that's going to be cleaned out in just a few minutes. And all of that can be done in a snap. I think I'll call this a fall facelift. This is my container garden in my ideal situation that I walk by every day. And I think I could easily do this once in the spring and once in the fall to spiff up the plants and to add some new color specifically for the season. And if you're into pumpkins, pumpkins would look great. If you're into scarecrows, that would look good too. You can put your own style into your project, and taking care of it is fairly simple. Now, a couple of things to think about. If you're growing in containers, the fertilizer in the soil, it can be quite limited. And so I use a granular fertilizer. It's a slow release fertilizer. This one actually lasts for 6 months. So this one's going to take me all the way through the fall. And when I replant in the spring, I can add some more. And then the other thing I do is pine bark mulch. And I use this as a top dressing on the soil. And I do it for 2 reasons. Number one, the water evaporates fairly quickly out of a container. And if you have the soil covered up with a mulch, it's going to hold that moisture a little bit longer. And the other reason is because pine bark decomposes fairly easily over time. And so when I need to dump a pot off into the compost pile or to reuse it in another container, this pine bark will decompose over time and add nutrients to the soil. So, I hope you've had fun learning how to garden in a snap, learning an easier way to have a gorgeous spot in your garden without having to dig a hole. If you're a tired gardener like me, this is a great way to add some fall color to your garden. Looking at the time, we did this in about an hour and a half, including all of our filming. So it was an easy project. We got it done really quick. It didn't have to dig a single hole in the ground, and I had fun doing it. I hope I've inspired you to add some color to your own landscape. Remember to like and comment and share and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on The Handcrafted Garden.